Raider Nation has a new fan favorite in Jackson Powers Johnson. Brock Bowers had to have an x-ray, but AP isn't worried about it. And the Raiders play in Cincinnati, where they haven't won since 1995. All that and more coming up next on Sideline to Sideline, right here on Section 105 Media Network.
I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. Just win, play hard, try not to make mistakes, but don't worry about mistakes because there's only one thing that counts. Just win.
It's been a while since Raider Nation has been excited about who's starting at center. I know I haven't been excited about the Raiders center since Rodney Hudson. We all know how important it is to have a great center on the line, calling out the Mike linebacker and blocking assignments, especially if you remember what happened just before Super Bowl 37. I think it's a perfect fit at center for JPJ. We'll take a look at a few plays from the second drive with JPJ at center versus the Chiefs in garbage time. I know Brock Bowers didn't want to come out of the game versus the Chiefs, but it's the coach's job to pull players that are hurt, especially when it's the future of the Raiders receiving corps. We cannot afford to lose a great player during any season, but most certainly not in a wasted season such as this season. I'd like to see AP protect the future of the franchise from themselves because JPJ and Bowers are pieces the Raiders can build an offense with once we draft our quarterback next year. The Raiders head to Cincy and will try to win there for the first time since 1995. I myself find that hard to believe, but I looked it up and sure as shit, they haven't won there since 1995. These are sad days for Raider fans, but I, for one, am willing to endure another losing season if it means we get Sedura Sanders. None of these games are worth winning at the cost of a chance to draft a QB. We need to compete in this QB-friendly NFL. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe if you haven't already, Raider Nation. Now on with the show. All right, Raider Nation, it is time for this week's version of Quick Hits. Now, during this week's segment, we're going to take a look at some press conference clips of Coach AP, as well as some all-22 footage of Jackson Powers Johnson playing center, and we're going to take a look at the left side of the line as well. Now, to kick things off, JPJ stepped in for Andre James versus the Chiefs in the fourth quarter and played well. He played well at center in college also and could take over the job. Coach AP was asked about JPJ playing center over the week, and here's what he had to say.
I know Andre James had to leave Sunday's game. Any update on him, and what were your thoughts on Jackson getting out there playing center on Sunday?
Yeah, James won't practice today. We'll see how it goes the rest of the week. And I really thought for Jackson, going from left guard to center, 0 reps, probably since OTAs. Maybe I can't think if he got any reps in training camp. No, he didn't. So I thought that was a really good job by him. We had no snap issues, just to go in there and make the mic calls and just communication. And we know Jackson's a smart individual, obviously. And I thought the coach did a good job getting prepared in that situation, which was obviously during the middle of the game.
So JPJ came in with limited reps, no reps in fact, since the offseason, man. The kid is smart. He's a true offensive lineman. Started at left guard. Now he's going to be starting at center, man. I know he is, man. The kid showed just how valuable he is, man. And some of these plays coming up, man, you see his nastiness. You see his awareness, man. As I said, am excited about the potential he has to help this team become a winning team, right? We all know it starts in the trenches, so you have to build in the trenches. And now that we're looking for a quarterback, it is good to know that we have people like JPJ, DJ Glaze, and Dylan Parham to build on for the future. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the next clip, which is a clip that we can focus on the left side of the line first, and then we'll take a look at JPJ. Now, as you watch here, you'll see that Colton Miller and Cody Whitehair are on the left-hand side. Now, I have been an advocate for Cody Whitehair to play left guard for the entire season. The guy is good at communicating, and every time he's in, Colton Miller seems to play well. And this play shows why. They have good communication skills. They take care of the switch. Now, Colton Miller's a little bit late on the switch, but he still gets a hand on the guy and gives Minshew enough time to get rid of the ball. Now, if you watch JPJ, he is keeping his head on a swivel and knows what he's supposed to do and moves over to help the right guard. So I love it. I love his awareness, man. And as you see, DJ Glaze is able to pick up the first down. Just a split second is all you really need to make a difference in this league. And when you can pick up guys like this on a consistent level, it really helps. There's this, you can see JPJ is looking to hit somebody right there. That's beautiful. And then Colton Miller is able to get a hand on Chris Jones. So that helps, right? Chris Jones was right there in the face of Minshew. So as I said, man, when JPJ went to the center, man, he just really opened up the eyes of the Raider Nation and Coach AP. And it makes room for Cody Whitehair to come in with his great communication skills and help this offensive line play well. So I thought that was a good example. Now, this is in garbage time, and really there was nobody lined up over JPJ for the most part. And they did give up a couple of pressures, you know, so not exactly a great sample size or a great sample. But, I mean, it's something that's all we got to look at, right? And right now, we're just looking for anything positive. And as I said earlier, he's got the awareness. He's got the nastiness, as this next clip shows. In this play, you'll see him do some dirty work right here. Keep an eye on him. Engages, right? And look at Colton Miller and Whitehair. They got the left side wrapped up. They're building a good little pocket right here, and this is the future of the Raiders, in my opinion. But keep an eye on JPJ right here. Wrestles this guy to the ground, pancakes him. I love it. I love that. And you can get a good shot right here. You see him engaging, keeping his feet moving. He's not really losing any ground. Slams the guy down, pancakes him. Man, when you can wear on guys like that, man, they're going to get tired. You're going to wear that defense down, and that's what can help open up the run game, man. He's nasty. He's smart. I like the kid, man. I might get a number 58 jersey. Hell, my wife says my forehead looks like his helmet, man, so whatever. I'm a huge fan. As we move on, though, we're going to take a look at JPJ helping the left guard. Now, this is not necessarily as fancy as a pancake, but it does show good awareness. All right, so you can see he's staying with this guy. And the all-22, I love looking at the all-22. Let's take a look at the offensive line. Look at JPJ in his face from the jump. Knows what to do, man. Colton Miller and Cody Whitehair are working the left side over here perfectly as well. I mean, that's a nice little pocket. It's tight, but, you know, when you're throwing stuff together like the Raiders are and you can see some things like this, there's something to build on. So I'm excited to see what the Raiders can do with JPJ at center in the near future. Again, just look, his awareness. He's not being driven back. You know, he's holding his ground. You know, this kid is something else. Also, clean snaps throughout the game. You know, it's important to get a clean snap off, right? Just as important it is to call out Mike linebacker and help out with the calling out the assignments, man. You can't get pushed back. Now, we will see what happens when they start lining up a nose tackle over him. So, like I said, it's not the best example to use, but it's all we got for right now. And I'm pretty excited to see what all he can do for this team. Remember, I mean, he's interchangeable, man. The kid's going to be an all-pro for years to come. Hopefully we can keep him and actually build a winning team around him. All right, now as we move on, we talked a little bit about how Bowers got hurt and Coach AP wasn't worried about it, right? Because he's durable, right? Coach AP likes tough guys. We all like tough guys, man. But this season is a bust, right? So you can't just allow guys to stay in when they're hurt. So let's go ahead and take a look at this clip.
How did Brock come out of the game? I think he had to go get an X-ray.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, Brock's tough. we try to pull him out for like 6 plays in a row, and he wouldn't come out the field. So not worrying about Brock this week at all.
Short and sweet as always, man. He's not worried about Brock. But I'll tell you what, I'm worried about Brock, man. This guy is a great tight end. He's better than Darren Waller. Man, the guy is going to be our Travis Kelce, man. We need that guy. We haven't had a dominating linebacker since Waller, right? But Waller wasn't even the most dominating linebacker or full tight end that we've had, right? So I expect Brock Bowers to become one of the greatest tight ends we've had in a long time. Now, I know I say that a lot, but, man, I think you see the same thing that I see, and he's putting up the numbers on the field to prove that, man. He's backing it up. I'm excited to see where he can go. Now, we're going to take a look at the play where I think Bowers got hurt. So, again, man, the kid is tough, but you don't want to see him get hurt. He cannot get hurt. All right, so right here, you see him, makes a catch. Right there is where he gets his rib hurt, man. So you look at him, he kind of gets up a little slowly. You can tell he felt that. So be careful out there, Bowers. Be careful, AP. Let's take a look at the offensive line real quick. See, as you can see here, nice little pocket forming. Cody Whitehair knows where to go. Colton Miller knows what to do. They play well together on the left-hand side, and you can see JPJ slide over to help out the right guard, man. JPJ and Dylan Parham are going to become one of the best combos in this league, I believe, man. I love it. See, smart, headsy play, but there is where you see Brock Bowers get hurt. So while he can handle it, man, don't risk it. You know what I mean? We don't want this guy, sustaining some kind of injury that comes back to nag him year after year, man. Ribs are no joke, man. That shit hurts, man. It's dangerous, too. You know what I mean? So hopefully Bowers is coming back strong, maybe with one of those rib protectors or something like that, man. I know the kid, he's got all the talent in the world, man, but he's a rookie, man. He's coming into a league where everybody's big and fast and strong. So he's got to put on some weight, protect that protect that core, protect his body, maybe get down a little bit lower. Maybe get down and knock the feet out of those defenders, man. A little bit quicker, but I mean, who am I to say? I'm just here in my garage or studio recording this, man. I just hope that the Raiders protect the future of the franchise in the upcoming games. All right, and that about does it for Quick Hits. All right, Raider Nation, we are now going behind enemy lines. In this segment, we'll take a look at the previous game of our opponent, try to get an idea, as well as some press conference clips, and try to get an idea of what we're going to do as a team or what we're going to need to do, man. So let's go ahead and get to the first clip, which is AP on the Bengals blitz, which, since we have a young offensive line, this could be a great test for that offensive line to prove that they are worthy of their roles and to start to build something good for this franchise in the trenches.
AP, the Bengals are top 10 in the league in blitzes called this season and quarterback knockout percentage. How does it change your game plan when you're playing against a team that blitzes a lot?
Yeah, you got to protect the quarterback. It's no different what we saw at the end of the game last week versus Kansas City. Teams are going to tee off. And once they figure out, there's a weakness or you haven't picked up something in protection, they're going to just keep going at it. Obviously, these guys got two good defensive ends. 91's a really good football player, high effort, high motor, competitive, solid. And, when they bring their backers and their stars, they're really good at pressures.
So be prepared, right, Raiders? They're going to blitz you, right? The Bengals want to win this game, man. They still think they have a shot at the playoffs, man. And they have the quarterback that's proven that he can take them to the playoffs, and the season's still young. Not so much for us. We're kind of out of the playoff contention, I think. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah, you could win a few more games, but that ain't going to get you into the playoffs, and it's damn sure not going to win you the Super Bowl. So I just want to see our offensive line perform well against a bunch of blitz packages, especially with JPJ at center. This could be a really good test for him and give us a better sample size, better footage to look at with him at center come next week. Now, the next video is AP on the Bengals wide receiver core. They got some talent. talent with Chase, Higgins. I expect this team to really put the pressure on the defense. And you know what? I think AP thinks so as well. So let's go ahead and take a next look.
You look at the Bengals receiving corps, they have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those are some really good receivers. And you just talked about the challenge that will bring to a guy like Jacorian, and what have you seen from him so far just throughout this season that really makes you comfortable with that challenge?
Yeah, probably the best combo of receivers, skill players that we went against all year, along with the quarterback. But Jamar Chase, man, is elite. I mean, he's one of one right now. You watch him after the catch, physicality, speed, acceleration, catch radius. I mean, I could go on and on. You know, obviously one of the top receivers in the league. And T. Higgins is just a matchup nightmare. I'll be honest, 6'4", 220. Plays with a little mean streak in him. Has the speed and agility. So we got to do a good job first and foremost. When they catch the ball, because they're going to catch balls, we got to tackle and get them on the ground. And then we have opportunities, because there's opportunities to make plays on the ball. We have to make those plays. But I think we don't need to chase plays. I think both Jack and JB and Nate have done a good job of, when the opportunity's there, punch it out or get the guy on the ground. And if we continue to do that, we'll be fine.
An example.
So as you hear, Coach AP says that he feels like we have a good matchup with our cornerbacks versus their wide receivers now. He feels like we can punch out the ball as a team, man, and I do too. I think this team is pretty talented, and they can force turnovers, even though they haven't forced a whole lot of turnovers, and the turnover differential doesn't look that good. That's more lopsided because the offense is just terrible, and they turn the ball over all the time. But yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup for Jack Jones and Jacorian Bennett, as well as Nate Hobbs, as you just heard Coach AP say, because Jamar Chase is going to move all over the place, man. He's not going to be in one spot. He is that kind of guy that's dangerous all over the field. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next video. In this video, you're going to see Joe Burrow keep the play alive and Jamar Chase find a spot in the end zone. They deliver a strike for the touchdown, man. Keep your head on a swivel, Raiders defensive backs, because this guy is the real deal, Jamar Chase. Looking forward to seeing our guys get better versus a team like this, man. This team is no joke. You can see Joe Burrow is great at keeping the play alive, directing traffic, and keeping his eyes down the field and punching it in the red zone, man. We need a quarterback like this. And I believe that we will get that guy come this next draft. With the PAT, the Bengals take the lead. All right, now, as I said, it's going to be a tough matchup, man. We'll see how it goes. I'm not saying we should win, but I don't want to see us get our ass kicked either, right? That's not good for our team. If our team is getting their ass kicked now, then we have a really long way to go. I thought we put up a good game versus the Chiefs, so I expect us to kind of challenge a little bit, but you never know with the Raiders, right? Seems like a lot of times they rise to the occasion and then play down to the bad teams, man. So we'll see what happens this week. Now, as I said, Nate Hobbs is going to have his hands full too with Chase, because Chase will move into the slot or at least run routes into the short middle of the field. So we'll take a look at this next video where Burrows hits Chase in the middle of the field. Quick pass, great first down. This guy, man, he's going to be a great challenge. Our cornerbacks are about to get tested. I feel like Jack Jones can definitely handle himself versus this guy, but it's going to be interesting to see how Jacorian Bennett can do. Now, Jacorian Bennett is playing a lot better, don't get me wrong, but I would expect them to kind of maybe go at him a little bit more, considering that Hobbs and Jack Jones are really our strengths as defensive backs at the cornerback position. All right, moving right along here, man. Taking a look at some of these players, trying to get familiar with the Bengals. So not only can Burrow, get the ball out quickly, he has a lot of weapons, but one of the biggest weapons that he has, will be his legs. Okay, so we're going to take a look at what Coach AP has to say about Joe Burrow right here in this clip, and then we'll take a look at some plays of Joe Burrow.
Mentioned the quarterback. What makes Joe Burrow so dangerous?
He doesn't flinch. I mean, he sees it. He sees single high. That ball's going to the outside, right? He sees the too high safety. He makes the correct throws, throws a check down, and hit the ball in the middle of the field. But more importantly, I think what shocked me was the athleticism I saw the other day from the Giants game. 50-yard touchdown. I run the linebacker, Isaiah Simmons, who runs 4.3. Competitive, tough, smart. You can see even battling all the injuries, man. Everything's rallied around this this player, and he's a special player. So we got to disrupt him, get him uncomfortable, and obviously, not allow him to have easy targets.
So as you said, man, they built around Joe Burrow. He has all the weapons. He makes the offense go. You saw him directing traffic. You're about to get a look at Joe Burrow scrambling. All right, in this next play, Burrow scrambles and finds Gesicki, who I think is Gesicki. He will be the wild card of this game, man. Tight ends kick our ass game after game. This guy is big. He's got hands, and he knows how to get open. So we'll see what happens. But let's take a look at this play because this is going to be something – a tough matchup for our linebackers, right? Divine Diablo is going to have his hands full, and Spillane is going to have his hands full. Spillane is dealing with an injury, so hopefully Gesicki doesn't just tear up the Raiders defense, man. So let's take a look at Gesicki real quick. Now you'll see Joe Burrow's doing what he does, keeps the play alive, beats the blitz, moves around, utilizes his linemen, keeps his eyes downfield, throws the ball wide open for 24 yards. Gesicki gets down. That's what I would like to see Brock Bowers do. Get down, Brock, just like that. Real quick, protect yourself, man. These guys, they want a cheap shot. But look at Joe Burrow, man. Our defensive line, our injured defensive line, depleted defensive line is going to have their hands full versus Joe Burrow and expect to see plays like that, man. You look at this guy. This guy kind of reminds me of Brock Bowers, except Bowers is a little bit better, right? So, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see how this game goes. Again, I stand pat on the fact that I think that the Raiders should tank this season, man, because you have a tight end. You have two great offensive linemen that you just drafted, right? They're playing well. They're showing up on the field in the stat card, all that, man. So I'm excited to see this, but protect them, AP. Protect these guys. All right, so moving on with Joe Burrow, man. As I said, the defensive line is going to have to be disciplined to contain Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow is the real deal. Look at this on 3rd and 8, man. Again, pocket collapsing. Weasels his way out of there. Protects the ball, reaches out for the first down on 3rd down. Man, I can see this guy doing this to us all game long, man. Yeah, we got great cornerbacks. We got guys that can handle some of the wide receivers that they have. But are we going to be able to contain Joe Burrow? Or is Joe Burrow going to run all over the damn place and find people downfield? We're about to find out. All right, so this next video, I want to state this. I know the Bengals don't have a great run game, right? But you can't forget about the run game, right? And as I said, the Bengals aren't the best when it comes to running the ball, but the Raiders have struggles against the run, and Brown is a decent running back. So hopefully the Bengals don't get going with the running game, especially since Spillane is battling an injury. And we'll take a look at that coming up in the injury report. So with that being said, let's take a look at this next play. From the shotgun, Brown gets in there. Like I said, man, you're going to be, your hands are full watching Joe Burrow. Your hands are full watching the receiving core. You can expect him to sneak in a run like this and be successful because our team has not been able to stop the run game almost at all year long. So with the Bengals' high-powered passing game, we're going to be busy looking at the receivers, and we could sleep on the running back. Hopefully not, though, man. I hope Spillane has a great game, comes back from that injury, and, make it competitive, right? I'm not saying win, but make it competitive. All right, moving on to the next play. AP is asked about the similar records between the two teams. Now, the Bengals and the Raiders might have similar records, but the Bengals have a better QB, and the Raiders haven't played well against the Bengals in the last 5 games, much less they haven't won in Cincinnati since 1995, man. So it's not a given. This is not an easy win, man. It's going to be tough, man. But yeah, let's look at the next video.
An example of a team that the record doesn't necessarily line up with who they really
No. Not when you look at the skill players and the quarterback, and then defensively, yeah, it might be a bad year for them from that standpoint. When you watch them, they're sound, they're in the right places. Questions asked earlier about the pressures. They give you a lot of things to think about. So no, we're not worried about it. I mean, yeah, we got to look at it like they look at us as 2-6, but our records both can be flipped. The game could have went a lot of ways in both of our games, but our record is what it is, and somebody has to win this game, right? And we need a win, more importantly, and that's all we're worried about.
Look, I can appreciate him trying to keep the team confident and chasing wins, but we don't need a win. We don't need a win. Not against the Bengals, not now. The season's over. I mean, it's over, guys. I'm sorry. I thought Minshew was going to be a good quarterback, but he is no Joe Burrow, right? But, look, if the Raiders defense can play smart football, they should be able to force some turnovers. Even though the Bengals are kind of a decent offense, you know, they got some weapons, they are prone to turning over the ball. You know, now the differential doesn't really show that, but in the last game they gave up the ball twice. And you heard Coach AB talking about punching out the ball, being disciplined, being opportunistic. Joe Burrow, as you're about to see, will take a chance. He will try to give his player a chance to get the ball, and that could lead to interceptions, just like this play. It's a good ball. Just deflected into the other defender's hand. Now, I would love to see Jack Jones and Nate Hobbs team up and do something like this. This is something that they were pretty good at last year, tip balls, and that they started out pretty strong with this year. It wasn't a bad pass, just great coverage, great play. These are all professionals, right? They can all handle themselves on the field. But the most important thing, I guess, you know, is to just not get burnt. Don't look like a bunch of jackasses in this game, you know. It's definitely something I don't want. You know, I'm not saying we should win, but I don't want them to go out there and get their asses kicked. I think that would be deflating. You know what I mean? I want to see competitive football while we build. All right, so the next play, Gesicki. He's my wild card, all right? Tight ends have killed us and killed us and killed us. I said that. But he's prone to turning over the ball too, right? And as I said, Coach AP hopes that people can knock the ball loose. So this is something that Coach AP wants to see in the game versus the Bengals. You can see they close in and tackle. Now, this is what I hope our defense can do too, right? Go in, punch out the ball as you're wrapping up the guy, right? We are terrible at tackling. So don't go and, you know, give up or miss the tackle because you're going for the strip sack. But hopefully we can do a little bit of this too, you know. But we shall see. Now we're going to move right along in this segment to the next part of Quick Hits. So with that being said, here is that next part. We'll take a look at the last 5 games. The Raiders lead the all-time series 21-13. But the Raiders have lost the last 4 out of 5 games to the Bengals. And as I said earlier, they haven't won since 1995 in Cincinnati. So it's not necessarily looking too good for us. I mean, typically the last couple of years, the Raiders have been pretty good on the road, even though I just said we haven't won in Cincinnati forever. But, you know, they've been playing a lot better on the road than they do at home. So there is a chance that this team can play well and win. And also, as we're about to see, the Bengals really haven't played all that well at home. Now, moving on to team leaders. Joe Burrow has 185 completions for 263 yards, or attempts out of 263 attempts for 1,993 yards and 15 touchdowns. Jamar Chase has 48 rushes for 674 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's got a nose for the end zone. Watch out for him. And Chase Brown has 78 rushes for 359 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, I don't have Brown on this picture. I got Gesicki because I'm telling you, I think Gesicki as a tight end is really going to do some damage, considering all the issues we've had covering tight ends over the last decade. So when we move on, we're going to take a look at the team rankings now. As I said, Cincinnati is 0-4 at home, 3-1 on the road. So I expect him to try to turn it around and put a 1 in that 0 column right there for the win. The away record for the Raiders, not so good, so the potential is there to give this game up to the Bengals and give them their first win of the season at home. We tend to do that a lot, to give up the first touchdown for a rookie, or the first touchdown in the opening drive for a team, or the first this, the first that, the first everything. We give up a lot of firsts to a lot of people around the league and a lot of teams. I just can't wait till we start putting up the first on other people and become first, number 1, and Super Bowl champions, man. All right, so if we take a look at the points allowed, both teams are pretty much at the bottom of the league, although the Bengals only allowed 25.4 at 23rd overall. Points scored, we're 26, not a good thing, right? And I think this is the kicker, right? Points scored a game for the Bengals. They're 11th, so they're going to put up points, guys. They're going to score on us, man. Can our defense stop them? You know what I mean? Now, our defense is pretty good against the rush, I would say. 19th overall, kind of average maybe. But again, I shouldn't say pretty good against the run. Our defense is 19th overall, and I just said that they got beat up, you know, all the way back to preseason. So I am kind of concerned about this, even though the rush game is 28th overall for the Bengals, man. Like I said, they're not doing all that great at running, but they could break open against us. It's happened in the past already in this season. Now, the defensive pass, right? We're 7th. They're 21st. So if Minshew can stay protected and our offensive line can pick up the blitzes, there's a chance that we can move the ball in the air, right? Now, our defense is 7th, so we could stifle them a little bit. But if we stifle them in the passing game and they find a way to run the ball against us, they're going to win. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that if you can run the ball, you're going to win. So that'll do that. That's it for behind enemy lines. So we're moving on to the next segment. All right, Raider Nation, it is time for this week's injury report. Now, as I said earlier, we are dealing with the injury bug, and we've been dealing with it all year. In fact, they took a baseball bat and just beat us over the head with it. We'll see. We'll see what happens this week. But if we take a look, go ahead and head on over to Raiders.com. We'll take a look at the injury report. And as you can see, Brock Bowers, my number one concern, did participate Wednesday and Thursday, so I expect him to come back with that rib injury. But again, protect him, man. Put something over that rib to protect him. Harrison Bryant, with the elbow injury, had limited participation. Max Crosby with the ankle had full participation. Andre James did not participate in practice all week long. Looks like Jack Jones with a bad knee, full participant. Hopefully he's going to be strong and ready to go. Jacoby Myers, limited and then full with an ankle. Colton Miller's dealing with an elbow, limited and then full. Merrick is dealing with a hamstring, full practice or full participant though. Dylan Parham is something that I'm a little worried about. I think the offensive line needs him back, especially against the Bengals, who are going to be blitzing a lot. He has a foot issue and he was limited. Robert Spillane, man, the heartbeat of the defense, the green dot guy, has a knee issues, did not participate. It has me worried a little bit. And Zamir White is dealing with the quadricep, did not participate. So it looks like Andre Madison will be carrying the bulk of the load. We look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Orlando Brown with the bad knee, fibula, did not participate. Joe Burrow's right hand is injured a little bit, his wrist. Full participant, though. T. Higgins did not participate. Sam Hubbard with the hamstring, limited on Thursday. Chris Jenkins, full participant Thursday. Charlie Jones, limited. Amaris Mims, full participant. And Geno Stone, limited. So we'll see what happens, man. But it's the middle of the NFL season. All teams are dealing with injuries, so there is no excuse, right? It's supposed to be the next man up mentality. We'll see, though, man. We are, Christian Wilkins is gone. We lost Mayer to some kind of mental issue, I guess. Mental health awareness, though. Get well soon, Mayers. Kuntz, right? Wilkins and Kuntz have really just left a big hole on the defensive line, which has me concerned as far as keeping Joe Burrow contained, as far as being able to stop the run game and making the Bengals one-dimensional. So chances are this is not going to be a good win. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to injury. We're going to go ahead and move on to the final thoughts. All right, Raider Nation, it is time for my final thoughts. I think you know where I'm going, right? I don't think we need to win this game. We need a quarterback like Joe Burrow that can take us to the playoffs consistently. Well, not that Joe Burrow's consistently taking them to the playoffs, but he's playing well. He's taking them to the playoffs. We need a quarterback like that, but we want him to do it consistently, right? I believe that lies in the future, and that future is Shedeur Sanders, right? We have the pieces in place, JPJ, DJ Glaze, Dylan Parham, Brock Bowers, to build around a good quarterback like Shedeur Sanders. Do we want to win this game? Yeah, every fan wants to win the game. But the question is, should we win this game, man? No, that's the answer. I'm sorry. I mean, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, man, but we don't need to win this game. If we win this game, it's not going to propel us into the Super Bowl. All it's going to do is push us out of the top 5 or top 10, draft picks, man. And this team has been playing mediocre. Last year we got lucky and got Brock Bowers. But you saw everybody make a mad dash on the quarterbacks, and some of them have worked out and some of them haven't, right? And you can say, well, that's why we don't want to draft Sanders. But look at what happened with the Broncos, right? They draft Bo Nix just ahead of us, and they're playing pretty well, all right? And speaking of Bo, right, the Broncos have a Bo. Bo was our guy, right? All right? That's a flashback to the 90s right there, right? I can't stand the fact that the Broncos have a Bo on their team. And to make things worse, maybe, from the 90s, Tom Brady played against us in the 90s and killed us in the Snow Bowl, the Tuck game, right? Now he's a Raider. So we got Tom Brady as a Raider. We got a Bo on the Broncos, right? You know what we need? We need a Sanders, all right? The Raiders need prime time. Since we're just talking about the 90s, we need that. All right? We need our running back, our cornerback. We need guys that can dominate this league, right? And you know what? Now that we're on AP, man, on Coach Deion Sanders, if AP can't get it done and we can draft Shedeur, then I say you hire Sanders. A lot of people are saying, man, he said he won't leave. He said he won't leave. Man, you're going to tell me he wouldn't leave the Colorado Buffaloes to go play for the Raiders? You're out of your mind, especially if we draft his son. All right? Now, that's a lot of hardware between Tom Brady and Deion Sanders. Those two together can help this team come back and win. All right? With all that being said, that'll do it for Final Thoughts.